Hi guys, this is Deborah. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be fixing another page in my art journal. So this is another one of the ones that I've done that I'm just not happy with. The other thing that I'm trying to achieve is to use my stash because I have got a big stash. So what I thought I wanted to do today is I've got these which are Twiddly Bits chipboard. And what you did is you made a 3D house with the pieces. Take that away. So it's got all these different pieces that it comes with, so you could make a 3D house. All the instructions on how to do that are inside. But I'm not going to do that. I did some at the time, but I found in the drawer today some of these packets that I had left. So I'm just going to look at how I can fix it. And I'm going to be using that. I'm also going to be using some of this, which is just like a cheesecloth, bandagey sort of stuff. And I'm going to be using some paints. So I bought paints. I have plenty of paints, but honestly, I just couldn't resist. These are the Diane Reevely Dylusions paint pots. And the paints that I bought from the art shop are just your basic colour, normal art colours. But I wanted something that was really bright and also some paler stuff. So I went and bought these from my scrapbook shop when I was there the other day. I had a voucher, so it saved me $20, but they were $8 each. Obviously that's Australian dollars, and I got seven of them, so I had a voucher. So I thought that was pretty good. And the reason why I bought these particular paints, acrylic paints, to do some art journaling with, was because I've been using them in the classes that I've been doing at my scrapbooking shop, and I just really liked how thick they are, and also of course the pretty colours, but how thick they are. They come in a lot more colours than this. I just chose my favourites, and also some contrasting colours like the orange, which isn't a colour that I would normally use, but I thought that I needed to do some offsetting, not just have everything in the same colourway, otherwise I just would have bought all green. But they have several shades of green. This is a really pretty green. It's called Fresh Lime. It's beautiful, isn't it? So I'm going to be using these today as well. So first of all, what I wanted to do was I wanted to put some of this. So the idea will be is that I'm going to paint these houses, well, these bits of houses, and I'm going to turn these pieces into a row of houses. And we'll see if that works out, but that's the plan at the moment. So what I first of all wanted to do is I was using the Diane Reevely raindrop stencil that I have, and I did these, and I just don't know, I wasn't happy with how they turned out at all. So I'm just going to try and cover this up. Just put some glue down to start with, and I'm going to grab some of the gauze. And this gauze, if you pull it apart carefully, you'll see you actually get all these lovely, bits. I use this on my canvases as well, and similar things like this, because it's just really nice. You can leave it in a straight sort of line as well, but if you do that, you get all these lovely stringy bits on it. I'm just going to put some of this down. And it is a bit hard when it gets sticky and your hands are sticky to actually pull it apart. I'm just going to dob it down, and then I'm going to put some over the top of that as well, so to try and hide some of the purple raindrops that are there. We all make mistakes in our art journals, I'm sure, but rather than just going, well, I'm just going to ignore that page, I think it's a good idea to try and go back and maybe not fix it, but try and think of creative ways to make it something that you like a bit better. Because I've got fabric sticking to my hands now, of course. Put some down here as well. See how I go with this. Sticking everywhere, but that's okay. I'll double it over a bit to hide some of that. I've got some other muslin which is a bit thicker than this. Maybe I should have used that, but I've got a way to overcome this, I think. I just want to make sure that this is reasonably stuck down. And when in doubt, take the lid off the glue. I'm just using this PVA glue. I mean, you can use other glues, but for the purposes of this, I just thought I'd throw some PVA on top of this. So I've got my craft sheet here, and I've got my paints. Now, these are new paints, so I need to be quite careful. I've got a background in those warm colours, so I'm going to choose some cool colours. I've got this pretty turquoise here, and I'm not going to go with the purple again, it's a bit too strong. And the other thing I might choose is this green, so I'm going to do it my houses in these colours. I might add a little bit of another colour in, I'll just see how it goes. So because mine are new and I've only used a couple of them so far, you need to be really careful when you open it, and also see how the paint is actually in the lid there. And that's probably not a good thing, because when that dries it's going to be hard to get the lid off. So I'm just being really careful about this at the moment. This bit here is meant to be in the actual lid, but mine don't seem to want to stay, so there you go. And never dip your brush or anything into your pot, always use something like a palette knife or some sort of spatula to pull that paint out onto your craft sheet, because you'll find that your paints won't then get contaminated. It's a bit like your inks. If you keep on, you know, using them and not looking after them, they do actually get contaminated. So I've pulled out some of that lime and washed my palette knife and just wipe it off. Make sure it's nice and clean. And the other thing I've done is put the lid back on, because these will dry out. And see how that one's actually in the lid. I haven't opened that one before. I went to a class recently and my teacher spoke about these, because I said, you know, I've just bought these, and so I was using them for the first time in class. And she also said that when you're done, just put a spritz of water on top of the paint before you put the lid back on, and that will keep them going a lot longer. I haven't tried that yet. I didn't actually do it the other day. I'm just going to put some of that pretty turquoise on the craft sheet. So the plan would be to use these house pieces as though they are single houses. So I've got a piece here. I might put this one in the center, and I've got a roof for it, some sort of roof. And that actually looks a bit odd there, doesn't it? Maybe I'll put that one over here. And then I've got this little one, so I could put this little one like that. See how that looks. Yeah, I was going to put it up, but I think I've got too many tall things. Yeah, I think I've got too many tall things, so this will be like a little bungalow. I mean, this is, you've got to think outside the square when you're trying to use your stash. Otherwise you're going to end up just with a heap of stash, and you're actually not going to be able to do anything. So I'm going to start with this one and paint it in the green. It may need a couple of coats. I'm just using a, I don't know, it's about maybe a 3/4 inch wide Taklon, basic Taklon brush. So if you don't know what a Taklon brush is, I must admit, until I'd been introduced to them a few months ago at another mixed media class, I didn't know what they were either. So I was doing watercolour, and we don't have Taklon brushes. They are a nylon brush. That's all it means. And they are cheap. You know, they're not like the watercolour brushes that cost, well, the brushes that I buy cost, you know, $60 each or something. These ones here are just a nylon brush. So they're very good for painting these sorts of flat surfaces. So I've got that little piece painted. As I said, I might have to do a second coat. And because I'm going to have that one there, I'm wondering if I can have another colour. Well, let's just wash the brush give it a bit of a rinse and put some of the turquoise paint on. Oh, look at that. Isn't that, oh, I've got some on there, but that doesn't matter actually. I don't care about that. I might do some splash stuff too. I probably shouldn't be painting over the top of my art journal page, but if some paint gets on there, it's not going to bother me. Oh, that's divine, isn't it? Because that's down there, I might do the roof in that colour as well. You could use the sponge to do this as well. You don't need a brush. You can even use your fingers if you want to. Okay, that's good. I think I probably need a couple more colours because it's just not enough colours. I thought, because a number of them are dry, that rather than doing a second coat, which is what I was going to do, although I could do that still, I might actually get my stamps and do some stamping on them so that they've got a bit of pattern on them. So I'm using this set of Stampin' Up! Stamps. Again, I've got a lot of these and I just don't use them, so I'm trying to make a big effort. And these have some little flower stamps. So I thought that might be cute to do like a little row of flowers along the front of the house. Not that one, but these two. So I've got some black archival ink from Ranger, and I'm going to see if I can get this to stamp. And you know what, if it doesn't work, always cover it up again with paint. There you go, I've stamped that one. Isn't that darling? And now I'm going to use the other stamp, this one here, which is little flower things in pots too. And I'm going to stamp this one with it. Now when I stamped the first image, I wasn't that happy with it. So what I've done to compensate that is I've stamped twice on each side. So it took 2 stamps, and this first one I didn't ink the stamp properly. What I've got here are some little chipboard things. I've got a whole drawer of chipboard. I did get rid of a lot of it, but I kept a whole drawer full, which is more than I'll use in a lifetime. But these ones here push out to become little windows. So I thought if I do that, I can put some windows on this little house here. So it's all about thinking about what you can use, and that just came to me that I've had these little window things sitting in there forever, and why don't I use them? And I've got these leftover bits from the centres, but I'm not going to throw them away because you never know when you need like a tiny little square. For example, I could use this as smoke coming out of the little chimney. Well, that's what I'm calling that, a little chimney. There you go, I've got some smoke coming out of the chimney just by using these little squares. So the pattern that I'm choosing for one of them is this mesh pattern. So this is a mesh stamp, and I have used it before in various videos. I think it's one of my go-tos. Of course, I have a number of stamps that I just tend to use all the time, just simply because I really like them. So I'm just going to push this down, and I'm hoping that it doesn't actually go onto the scrap page. Sorry, onto the journal, which it didn't. That's lovely. And of course my other go-to, this one, which is my staples. You might think that's a bit of a weird thing to put onto a house roof, but I actually thought that it might look quite cool if I put that on there. And stinking some of it up. Yeah, that looks good. Yep, that's fine. And I just need one more for the greenhouse. So I've gone into my stash and I found this big black button. And I thought, you know what? Perfect. So I've just got my gesso primer out of the cupboard, and I'm using my palette knife again. And of course the other thing is, don't double dip into your gesso. In fact, don't double dip into anything would be my thought, just take some and put it out on the craft mat. Just finding a clean spot on there. And then if you need more, you can get more out of it with your palette knife. And just scraping some more up on the back of the palette knife and just pushing it through that gauze. And because the gauze is textured, the gesso is going, you know, through it and sticking to it, which is great. So you can still see the background, you can still see the gauze, but I've given it a nicer texture than what it was before. So this is Deborah. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.